Greetings to all my tech heads out there in the KevTechify Nation, and if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, we're going to look at mitigating address spoofing attacks. We'll be discussing address spoofing attacks, address spoofing attack mitigation, configuring IP source guard. This episode is part of my series on network security. I'm Kevin here at KevTechify. Let's get this adventure started. MAC address spoofing attacks occur when attackers alter the MAC address of their host to match another known MAC address of the target host. Here we can see that we have our threat actor here. So we have our threat actor. This is a known MAC address, so this is a valid device on your network. What that threat actor is going to do is going to get this MAC address, and then they're going to set it up as their own. They're going to set it up as their own. And what happens is on our switch port here, it knows that MAC address is AABBCC there, but now all of a sudden it starts getting some packets from our threat actor, and then the switch is all of a sudden going to change and say, oh, it is now connected to port 2. Now, when the switch receives that frame, it examines that source MAC address. The switch overwrites it, the current MAC address table, and assigns the MAC address to that new port. It then inadvertently forwards frames destined for the original target to now that threat actor. To protect against MAC address and IP address spoofing, what you can do is you can configure IP source guard. IPSG. Now, this is a security feature, and what IP source guard does is it operates just like dynamic ARP inspection, but it looks at every packet, not just the ARP packet. So dynamic ARP inspection only looks at ARP packets. IPSG, IP source guard, looks at every packet. Now, like dynamic ARP inspection, IP source guard also requires that DHCP snooping is available. So it looks at every packet and that it requires DHCP snooping. For each untrusted port, there are two possible levels of IP traffic security filtering. First one here is IP source address. Once again, this is a filter, and IP traffic is filtered based on its source IP address, and only IP traffic with a source IP address that matches that IP address source binding entry is permitted. When a new IP source entry binding is created or deleted on the port, the per port VLAN ACL automatically adjusts itself to reflect the IP source binding change. Then we have source IP and MAC address. IP traffic here is filtered based on its source IP address in addition to its MAC address. Only IP traffic with source IP and MAC addresses that match that IP source binding entry are permitted. In our topology here, we have two PCs in VLAN 10, PCA, PCB, and they're connected into F01 and F02. PCA and PCB here, these are untrusted sources when we're talking about our IP source guard. And what we want to do is we want to turn those, we want to set the switch up here to say that they are untrusted ports, and we want to turn on IP source guard. Now, to do that, what we do is we go into the interface. We're going to use the range command, so fast Ethernet 0/1 to 2. So we'll do both of those ports, but you could easily do 0 to 24 or whatever fits your situation. And then once we're in that interface or interface range, it's IP verify source command. You enter that in, that does IP source guard enabling for those interfaces. To verify it, what we can do is we can use the show IP verify source command. It will list it out, and we can see down here we have filter type of IP, and the filter mode is active. Also gives us what the IP address is of the expected devices that are connected there. It was my pleasure to provide you with this wonderful episode on mitigating address spoofing attacks. If you like this episode and you got value out of it, and of course, depending upon what platform you're using, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. This all helps me bring you more great content. Please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. All of my socials and contact information are on my website, KevTechify.com, and you can get all these episodes in video and podcast form. In the upper right is my playlist for my series on network security. In the bottom right is one of my videos I think you'll really like. Thank you so much for watching this episode of my series on network security. Once again, I'm Kevin. This here is KevTechify. I'll see you next time for another great adventure.